Hello again. I suppose this was episode 2 or maybe the third episode. I don't know. I'll try and keep sort of maybe several different shows for the channel, but this will be the second episode of the main one. Having sort of gone through an introduction video explaining what I'd like to do. Obviously seen a football focused orientated video previously. I've also spoken to a few people regarding potential tips how to improve, as this is still a new experience for me, so I'm going to look to try and potentially be a bit more concise over some of my points. However, if I'm not, my apologies in advance. So I'd like to have a look through my previous week, which has been a very, very busy one. So I've had 3 days at work, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the Thursday and Friday off, as well as sort of the busyness over the actual weekend itself, with a lot of sort of office work from the previous project I mentioned on the last video, as well as then on the Thursday, going to the Foo Fighters gig at the Olympic Stadium, London Stadium, and then off to my friend's Stag do on the Friday. I suppose I'll get into it. I'll keep those as nice sections. So, beginning of the week was relatively calm one. It's focused on CAD work, sort of the other side of surveying. A lot of the previous week was on site, collecting the data, collecting in the information. From that, now having had the information, need to process it and extrapolate the data required. In this situation, it would be building elevations and floor plans, essentially measuring out the floor plans would be measuring out the dimensions of the areas of the rooms, as well as highlighting key features depending on the client specification, i.e. I'm supposed to standard thing would be doors, windows, radiators, any sort of major points of plumbing like toilets or sinks or anything along those lines. So this is something that can often take a bit longer than the site work, in my opinion, which is the difference between a building survey and a topographical survey, but I might go into more details with that, having done a topographical survey or plan on doing one later this week. So the main thing with the building survey is using a 3D scanner to go around and collect the information, which is an excessive amount of information, admittedly, and then refining that and just clearly interpolating, getting what we need, having tied that in with total station and GPS work in order to orientate the job and as well as get it to the correct level based on ordnance survey grid coordinates. Now so with the scan data, you can trim it, you can sort of look at wall lines and almost trace it regarding you've processed the information correctly, which I would like to think that I do most of the time. However, there may be the odd occasion sometimes when the software needs a bit of a nudge because it's not quite right, not quite fitting, so you have to sometimes fit it yourself, which thankfully I've not had to worry too much about that job. So that's still an ongoing project from that, as it's a big site, so I can keep you updated on that. If not, don't worry. So I suppose the more interesting side of things is going to the gig. Just going to watch the Foo Fighters at the London Stadium. This was primarily a Christmas present for my girlfriend, but I'm not gonna lie, it's sort of a nice little present for me, I suppose, as well. As someone that doesn't often take a lot of time off, it's what I'd consider a almost bucket list band, in my opinion. Everyone's got bands that they, at least in my opinion, that they need to see live, that they have to want to see live. So I suppose, for example, the one band I've got left as someone that does actually gig quite regularly is probably Red Hot Chili Peppers. Someone that's very positive and upbeat and had such a major influence sort of my childhood, sort of musically wise. Beyond that, there are obviously other bands I'd potentially like to see, but considering I listen to older rock, some of those bands that members might not well be alive, so whether you'd get the same experience or not, I don't know. So the actual getting to the gig, there was no issue. Sort of you drive down from Ipswich over to London, park at Newbury Park and go in from there. I like to think that's the simplest and safest way of going about doing most things in London, as it's cheap parking, especially for London, and the underground service in itself, providing there are no serious works or issues. Very easy to get through, very simple to get through, not a problem. So then you've obviously got off at Stratford, so that's on the same line, Newbury Park, nice and easy. Not one single issue getting there. I was worried about potentially getting there early or late, but absolutely spot on with the time, sort of no issues whatsoever. So once sort of getting inside the stadium, which I have to admit is absolutely amazing. I can't imagine what it must have been like with sort of some of the Olympics events going on there, having sort of only ever actually visited or been around it from the outside, obviously draped in all the West Ham colours. Still looks just incredible, and well, potentially might look to go there football wise next year, but we'll see of ticket availability, which sort of a bit of a struggle with being an Ipswich fan nowadays, but no, we'll see. But really, this amazing venue, something that was clearly built for big events. Obviously, it was Olympics. So it had two support acts there. I must admit, I didn't know them very well at all. So there was both rock bands, one called Shame and the other called Wet Leg. These aren't bands that, I don't know whether it might have been the mic's quality. I don't want to speak ill of sort of anyone working behind the scenes. I think it was very difficult to hear clear lyrics, particularly Shame, the first bands. I think one thing I would say about both of these bands is energy. It's exactly what you want from support acts, is to build everything up, build up the excitement for the main band, which I truly believe they did. I think they did very well for the sheer amount of people as well, considering the potential size of the bands. I don't know how big they are, whether they sell out sort of what they do sort of tour wise, or how many people they're used to playing in front of. I thought they're really, really good. Upon that, then obviously Foo Fighters got on. So getting into the stadium originally was about 4:30, 5ish, and support band sort of going until 7:30 when they obviously came on. Now they started with what I'd consider one of the sort of perfect sort of songs for just everything, so building up energy. So the song All My Life was the starter for it, which is one I've always said to friends, even at school when I was back in middle school, that it's something that's sort of meant for a stadium and meant for energy. It's meant for everyone, just limbs everywhere, to be perfectly honest. And I'll be honest, you could say it was probably one of the longest sets that I've potentially been to, while having looked at the actual length of time on reflection, but it's certainly one that didn't feel like it. I think they paced and played out their songs, sort of spread nice mixture of new and old throughout the show, so obviously highlighting each individual band member, having had guest appearances, sort of some of the songs, including his own Dave Grohl's daughter singing with him, which I thought was a very nice touch. Taylor Hawkins' his son sort of obviously got involved with some of the songs as well, which I thought was a very, very nice touch. And then it finished with Everlong, which is, let's be honest, their biggest song. Absolutely just breathtaking. energy, just everyone, the whole crowd in unison, just behind the band, and you could just, and then right at the end, sort of fireworks displays everywhere. It's just what you want, it's just what you want to feel, and sort of, you can almost get such raw emotion from just the whole set, and I can't speak highly enough of it as a show. Having seen several gigs, sort of Blink 182, The Killers, Imagine Dragons. I mean, this is something I would, if I could and had to rank them gun to head, this would probably be at, if not the top of the list of just bands that are meant to see live. So I suppose, fingers crossed, Red Hot Chili Peppers sometime, if they want to tour in the UK, I'd be deeply appreciative of it. I'd happily spend quite a large amount of money to get hold of those tickets, but I guess we'll wait and see on that. And then I suppose afterwards, getting out of the show was a bit convoluted, I suppose, sort of various fences everywhere, trying to escape to get onto the tube, which, I'll be honest, that walk in itself felt longer than the tube ride, so, but all sorted itself out. Drive back, absolutely amazing. I suppose the only slight thing with that is then get back quite late from a trip to London, and then you have a few hours, right, off in the morning, friend's house, off to a Stag do, which, so it's rushing around, panicking in that morning, making sure I've unloaded anything or reloaded everything into the car, and then went round. Everyone who was going from that house at the time was there when I got there, and sort of we introduced where we were going, sort of all the information regarding the Stag do in itself, including highlights being a very colourful dress and a cameo appearance from Carlton Cole describing exactly where we're going. Obviously, the Stag, being a massive West Ham fan, absolutely loved it, which I thought was a very sort of nice touch. I'm not going to try and take too much credit, but I that was my idea. So yeah. But after that, no, we set off into different cars and all headed up. It's about 4 or 5 hour drive, stopping every now and again for lunch and sort of much needed breaks as and when. And then we finally got to the Airbnb, which we obviously pre-booked, which absolutely lovely. It's a 3-4 floor flat in the middle of Liverpool. Absolutely amazing. I can't speak highly enough of the owner, having sorted everything out with Pampers and things like that. Lovely sort of bar outside, games rooms, bathrooms, bedrooms everywhere. Anything you can want, if you just want to have a chill day or not. Absolutely brilliant. Anyone that is sort of a friend of me can potentially see this, or sort of much more of the sort of information off of my own Facebook feed or other friends and things like that, as I don't know how well. I might try and throw in the odd images here and there, but it's just incredible. And then we went out to, there's a Gordon Ramsay pizza place in the middle of Liverpool, which was, I think it's about £35-ish, almost bottomless pizza. You just eat. Suits me down to a T. Pizza was cooked absolutely amazingly. It never stopped. The service was absolutely top notch. And then went out into town, sort of going through several sports bars and sort of rock bars. I myself didn't stay out potentially as long as some of the other group. However, I don't know whether maybe I shouldn't have maybe had a bit too much pizza. That's fine. That's not an issue. So I could happily say toodaloo, head back. Attempted to get some more sleep for the activity tomorrow or the day after. Kind of struggled with that. I'll be honest. It takes me a while to get down, to settled, and just nod off. It's not something that happens sort of naturally with me. This is something that I continuously try to work on. And then we've got the next day. get up bright and early for the activities. So the activities, sort of the main sort of soberish sort of things, were Casson Hall. Now this is obviously just a little bit outside of Liverpool, which included for us, although I'm sure there are other activities available, archery, air rifle shooting, and quad biking, all three of which were absolutely amazing. None of them, with exception to the air rifle shooting, are things that I've ever really properly done. So sort of any new fun experiences there, I thought. I quite enjoyed personally the archery, as I realised that might be a hidden talent, that might potentially be a hobby to look at into the future. Air rifle shooting, I've sort of had a small amount of experience with that, Cubs and Scouts, obviously hadn't been a while. And quad biking as well, which I'm probably not the fastest, as I like to think sort of slow and steady and not wanting to roll off of a quad bike, but obviously it didn't happen. I've still got all my limbs all perfectly fine. Then after that we decided to go for a nice sort of simple approach, get a nice barbecue going, just a couple of beers, barbecue, just chilled. Then off for another night out, sort of going through some of the rock bars. Obviously being within Liverpool, there's a lot of focus on the Beatles, which obviously we saw several clubs that they performed at, sort of some of the sort of statue and ornaments sort of outside. This was something that I was probably a bit more invested and prepared for sort of this night, and sort of thoroughly enjoyed that. With it wasn't even a DJ at most of the nightclubs, it was sort of several different people on guitars sort of doing different mixes, doing different covers, which is all this very sort of, it's quite unique, which was very, very enjoyable. It's nice to go somewhere where it's different. You don't want to go to the same thing, it gets monotonous, it gets boring, and it's just, you're not going to have as much fun really. So I can happily do that. Came back, probably didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked, but once again, just issues with that, something to work on. And then, yes, I suppose we parted ways in the morning, having done a sort of thorough tidy up of the venue. And yes, we headed back, which was nice and calm, sort of a few small breaks here and there. I think everyone was quite tired, including myself. So I think most people's Sundays were spent pretty much sort of get home, 5 or 6, straight to bed. I know that's pretty much what I did, to be honest. And I think I'd argue, so I'm still looking for more sleep, and well, hopefully I'll catch up with some of that throughout the rest of the week. In regards to any football, obviously I did watch some of the Euros games as and when I could. I'm going to try and release a video separately once all of the group games have finished, and try to be more concise over each individual group. Otherwise I think I might fixate too much on the Slovenian striker, for example. I don't know how much that's wanted or needed, but never mind. So I'm going to recommend a song. This one should be one that everyone, I think, has heard of. Well, people thought I might have gone Foo Fighters, and I'll be honest, I try and look for a nice, happy, excitable Foo Fighters song, but no, I've gone down a different route. It's one I've just listened to today. Now, if anyone knows me, they know that I love the band called Punk Rock Factory. Now, they've done a song with Suburban Legends. So it's called Friend Like Me. So obviously, this is where everyone should know of this song, because obviously it's in Aladdin, absolute classic, one of my favourite Disney films of all time. Put on with a bit more of a rocky, bouncy, just sort of energetic vibe to it, which I quite like the unique twists. I'm a fan of sort of covers if they're done in a unique style, and well, obviously not butchered, but I don't believe this one was, and it's sort of the song I'd recommend, considering I've spent sort of most of the weekend with sort of good friends, sort of people that some people I've never met before, and some people I know very well. So that's my song for the week. So I'll hopefully see everyone next week at some point. See you later. Bye.